Hello, guys, and welcome to the Marigold Standard, your weekly audio source of all things Dream Star Fighting Marigold. I'm your host, Rob Goodwin. I am joined as ever by Mr. Matt Turner. And let's be perfectly honest, Matt, there was almost no point in podcasting this week. Nothing, absolutely nothing has happened in the world of Marigold this week worth talking about. So we might as well just do pleasantries and then sign off.
Yeah, I mean, guys, if I didn't get a haircut today on my lunch break, there probably wouldn't have been a reason to do this podcast. Not only that, but
Yeah.
Rob is back in audio and video form. So that is obviously the top of the news today. Obviously, the card coming up in Sumo Hall and the dream match that we haven't seen in about 7 years. That's C-level stuff compared to the return of Rob Goodwin, all back on the podcast, all healed up. You throw in Matt Turner's haircut, and folks, what a day. What a day. What a day. But brother, I am so glad that you are back. I'm glad that you're feeling better. But how was your weekend, my friend?
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. We had a 1-year-old's birthday party, and I can't remember if I spoke about this on the podcast, but it was a huge deal. It was like they had an entire community center booked out and stuff. It was very, very nice. I can't help wondering why, though. Like, why? What? Is it not money better spent somewhere else, or on a party that the child is going to remember later on? But maybe that's just me being cynical and British about the entire situation. The entire party was lovely. The cake was lovely. They had a bouncy castle. There was a bar. So yeah, it wasn't too bad. But apart from that, not too bad at all. What about you? Obviously, I know that you work 85 million jobs because you are, for lack of a better word, a psycho. So what else did you find yourself doing this weekend?
Real quick, Rob, I always remember Lily's first birthday because that was the day of Joe versus Kabashi. So if anybody ever questions my love for my daughter, who's going to be 21 on Thursday, which is the legal age to drink here in the United States, which is crazy, I always say, if anybody ever questions, I miss Joe versus Kabashi. And I was working for Ring of Honor at that time, so I would have been backstage doing this or that. But yes, I miss Joe versus Kabashi. Not that, but the whole entire Kabashi weekend to celebrate my daughter turning 1. So that's where my loyalties lie. Brother, I was good. It was good. Me, Lily, and Amber, we went out for dinner, as I mentioned on the Stardom Cast, dinner with my two favorite people that aren't you and Andy Header. Notice how I cover my tracks. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a we had a lovely dinner. Then let's see, Saturday I got I came home. I took a 2-hour nap and then watched the Stardom show because the Stardom show started at 10:30 p.m. for us
Yes.
here in the East. So, which obviously we will get into that on the Stardom Cast. Then went to the gym and then just had a really nice, kind of low key, easy weekend with Lily and Amber. Which again, my daughter's gonna be 21, so those days are few and far between. So it's nice. And then obviously Sunday was my side job, and then went to go see my parents and my grandfather. And it was my aunt's birthday. My aunt shares a birthday with Hazuki, so that's always cool to know. No, yes, I
Yep.
share a birthday with Saida and Andre the Giant. And let's see, Amber shares a birthday with Triple H. Now, you share a birthday with? Yes, you remember these things, Rob? Don't you share a birthday with like a famous wrestler? I thought that we discussed
Oh, I
this. I
don't
thought it
know.
was. Oh, I thought you told me that you might have. Now he's gonna look, folks. I
I'm
can
gonna
see.
Google it. Yeah, absolutely. Hang on. You carry on filling, my friend. Let's find a decent birthday for the April 13th.
No, but that was it. And then it's a nice weekend. It's always nice when you're spending time with family and whatnot. So really, really fun stuff. And then next week we leave for New York Comic Con. So a lot of great and fun stuff going on over at the Matt Turner household. Let's see, what did Rob
Um,
find out? Go ahead, good sir.
I mean, it's not exactly Triple H. I mean, I was born on the same day as Monty Brown. Exactly 20 years after Monty Brown. So that's my claim to fame. So when you said I thought you had a famous wrestler birthday, no, 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 no.
You have the famous of all, one Monty Brown. It's so funny. Remember me when we did the meet and greet with Saida after she showed me how the proper way to throw your jacket as far up into the
Absolutely,
ceiling.
yeah.
We did make mention that if you're born on 5/19, you were born with extra strength. So there you go.
Super strength, absolutely. But yes, apart from all that, it's been a quiet week in the world of wrestling. Apart from the fact that Marigold decided that they were going to drop arguably one of the worst kept secrets, maybe, in terms of what is coming up at Sumo Hall on the 26th of October. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to say this now. Stardom and Marigold need to work on how they announce things, because now this is the Starlight Kid 10th anniversary show, which fine, great, don't mind that. Would rather it not be announced as some sort of bloody retirement thing like we thought it was going to be. And then we had Marigold, just apropos of nothing, say, yeah, we've got an emergency broadcast. To which everyone went, oh, fantastic. This is great. To the point where Rossi had to send something out on Twitter
An
to
hour
say,
later.
it's not bad. I know that it's translated as emergency, but I promise it's good. I promise you'll like it. I bet you any money it wasn't actually IYO and Mayu at that point. They just said, we're going to have to put something good on because everyone thinks it's negative. Quick, just pile everything into this.
Yeah, the whole IYO thing was it was a cameo. They're just like, we did rush a cameo. Yeah, IYO doesn't know the match is happening, no clue. They did announce those whole entire cards for that WWE Japan Super Show. And I don't know if you saw, we're finally getting Kairi and Julia, not in a Stardom ring, not in a Marigold ring, but in a WWE ring. It's like,
have you seen the two Julia matches over that weekend?
And then it's Julia, IYO, and is it Rhea?
I thought it was Julia versus IYO versus Asuka.
I thought it was versus. I have it saved on my phone. Sorry, guys. Okay. I know I don't like to go on my phone when I'm podcasting stuff, or even when I talk to anybody in general. No, it's Julia versus IYO versus Rhea. So I was right. The main event
just
is
on a random house show in Japan. Sure.
The main event, as it's being billed here, is CM Punk versus Seth Rollins, and then you have Nakamura. So obviously that's going to be big because it's Nakamura teaming with Jey Uso to take on Braun Breaker, and it looks like Bronson Reed. And then let's see. Okay, so the IYO's other match is Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez versus IYO and Rhea Ripley. So that'll be great. And then it's Kairi versus Julia. But it doesn't look like they announced Asuka's match just yet. I'm assuming she will have a match on said show.
You would assume so. You'd be very disappointed, wouldn't you? What makes me laugh is that on the Saturday, they've sort of shown their hand that Julia is 100% retaining that belt, because the one on the Saturday is in a WWE North American Women's Championship match or United States Championship match. And then the one on Sunday is also a WWE United States Women's Championship match. So yeah, Julia is definitely. I don't know who on earth is eating the pin in that three-way. Can you imagine? So Julia's going to retain. IYO, Rhea, who fancies taking the pin on this one?
That's really weird and Julia's obviously a big star, and obviously we'll get into gaze at Julia, but as far as star power goes, like she's number 3. Like Rhea's definitely number 1. It's like, yeah, who takes the pin? I mean, maybe it'll help Julia out pinning Rhea. You know what I mean?
It can't even be like a DQ or anything, because it's a three-way.
Maybe it'd be a triple count out. I mean, if you do remember
imagine.
If you remember, Rob, they did Hell in the Cell, The Fiend and Seth Rollins. It ended in a disqualification. So it's like
the memory of that match is burnt into my subconscious. What an absolute palaver that was. But yeah, once the Super Show in Japan from WWE was announced, and IYO was one of the first names announced, it was more a case of, right, when are Marigold announcing it? And we might as well get into it now, Matt, because let's be perfectly honest, this is the main thing we're going to be talking about today. The Dream Destiny. Marigold have finally announced that IYO SKY and Mayu Iwatani will be going one-on-one at Grand Destiny on the 26th of October in Ryogoku, and it'll be the first time the Thunder Rock members square off since April 2018 in singles action, which is incredible. This is going to be insane. I was sort of thinking about this the other day, and the previous Marigold show at Ryogoku, Summer Destiny, obviously was, and possibly up until now is, Marigold's biggest show. This is going to eclipse that without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, Utami versus IYO was a great moment. Not just because it was IYO's first match in Japan since 2018, not just because it was, Utami getting to wrestle her idol, who, they were like ships in the night. They passed in stardom, never once encountered each other. But it was such a statement of intent from Marigold as well to run Ryogoku just 3 months. By George, 3 months. Sorry, my cat was in here this entire time. Just
Get enough
3
of it.
months after. Yeah, absolutely. He's a Kyrie fan. Just 3 months after their existence. So for this card now, Marigold is in a significantly better position in 2025 than they were in 2024. I would argue that the roster is stronger. I would argue that the chemistry is better. And obviously, you can put that down to the dojo. You can put that down to Shuji Kondo. You can put that down to just more in ring reps with each other. You could argue that it's because there is a deeper roster. You could argue that it's because Mayu's there. Whatever it is, there is it feels like Marigold is far stronger. And I feel like whatever they put on Grand Destiny, this card was always going to be bigger. And I think Utami versus Miku Aono, whatever it is that ultimately main events, it was always going to feel like a bigger show. However, this feels like the quintessential dream match. This is the match that every Joshi fan wanted to see one more time run back, because IYO has gone to America, and especially in the last 3 years has absolutely killed it, and probably more so in the last 2 years, has been arguably the most consistent competitor in that company, male or female. And Mayu has continued to be Mayu Iwatani. And I mean that in the best possible way. She is, for my mind, the best women's wrestler in Japan. And it's always been a case of, okay, so IYO's gone. Mayu and Momo were the ones given the mantle, to take Stardom into the future in IYO's absence. But I wonder who's better now. I wonder if Mayu has properly surpassed IYO. I wonder if the mentee has surpassed the mentor. And the fact that we are able to get that, the fact that we have the hype around this match, that there is going to be such an incredible atmosphere in Sumo Hall for this match. And we talked a little bit about this not long ago when we talked about what was going to main event. And now that's a very real conversation that needs to be had, because yes, I would say that the Marigold World Championship, just to cement Utami's legacy as the champion, needs to main event. But how the hell do you follow this match?
Yeah, you made a great point on a lot of things, buddy. Just the company is bigger from last year. Last year they did about right around 30. I'm going to round up right around like 3,100 people. And IYO is a bigger star now than she was last year. Obviously, a massive star compared to look what she did. From Summer Destiny to Grand Destiny, stole the show at WrestleMania, won the championship again. Is in my opinion, the best storyline in all of WWE right now with that. With the Asuka and the Rhea, and obviously, we covered on IYO and Kyrie Watch. Like it is layered story to the point where it was the main event segment of Monday Night Raw. That's a big deal, folks. That's a big deal. It was the main event segment on Monday Night Raw this past week. So IYO's a bigger star, probably even a better wrestler. I mean, how do you go from the greatest to the greatest? But probably even a better wrestler now than she was last year. And then, I mean, you take a look at if as far as star power goes, and we love Utami Hayashishita. Don't get me wrong, Mayu's a bigger star. Mayu's a bigger star than Utami. So you're throwing that in, and then it's like, well, what are you doing with Utami? She's in a big championship match with Miko Ano, and Utami's still a massive star for this company, and Miko Ano was built up properly. And speaking of building up properly, look at Victoria Yuzuki this past year. Look at Mai Sakurai in the last year and a half. So you're throwing that in, and obviously, we'll get into it a little bit later, but Chihiro Hashimoto is going to be on this show because she decides that she can't wrestle enough big shows outside of Sendai Girls that she's going to wrestle at this show. So this show is shaping up to be one of the best shows of wrestling all year. There's a very good possibility, Rob, that when we're looking at our end of the year awards, the two best wrestling shows in all of wrestling is going to be Marigold Grand Destiny and Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom. So it's and maybe even Dream Queendom, because the way that we're kind of, and again, we'll get into that in the Stardom cast, the way that things are starting to shape up for that, or the way that they're going. We're really, really blessed as fans of professional wrestling, especially Joshi, to be able to watch all this. I mean, and here's something else you have to think about. My opinion, Mayu and IYO, the two greatest in-ring women's wrestlers of all. Joshi, I'm talking of all time. With all due respect to the Charlotte Flairs and the Leone Kais and the Miami Toyotas and the Aja Kongs, for my money, for what I like in wrestling, IYO and Mayu are the two best in-ring competitors of all time, still very much in their prime. What Mayu's been able to do, again, we said it last year, probably 2024 was Mayu's best in-ring year, which is saying something. What she did in the 5-star, the great match with Suri, the great match with Momo Watanabe, the great match with Shuri at the beginning of the year. And then she's having a great year here in Marigold and Stardom before she came over. And again, IYO is absolutely crushing it in WWE. And again, wrestling's subjective. You can like what you like, but there's not a soul walking planet Earth that can tell me that IYO isn't the best in-ring competitor in the biggest company in the world in WWE. So, I mean, this is massive. I mean, you think about it if you were able to, like, current day right now, to see like who's the two greatest men's wrestlers of all time in ring. Like, maybe, I don't know. I mean, it's an argument, but maybe like Misawa and Flair. Can you imagine if we're able to watch like Misawa and Flair go at it in a big venue like this? Like, this is insane. And again, it's something that once Mayu left Stardom and when she goes over to Marigold, everybody was kind of like, okay, this is probably one of the reasons why. This is probably one of the reasons why. And then we started the seeds getting planted even more. Okay, Sumo Hall's booked. Okay, you don't book Sumo Hall not unless you have a big draw. And then you get the emergency press conference, which then Rossi was like, oh, no, it's not an emergency. It's a good thing. Stop labeling
My
emergency.
heart can't take this anymore, Matt. Honestly, every single announcement, I'm like, oh my God, who is leaving / retiring now?
Can we just call it a happy press conference? Like a happy, like this way, ease Rob into it. So this way he's all excited. Like when you're going to go to see a Marvel movie, you're in the chair, you're going to have a good time for the next 2 to 3 hours. We know that there's people that
did you see Doctor Strange too?
I actually saw it twice in the same weekend. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Look who you're talking to.
I was just going to say, that does not surprise me, to be fair.
But yeah, you're absolutely right. As far as going back to like what main events, we kind of touched upon this about 2 or 3 weeks ago, that if this is the match that we're getting, which we thought we were going to get, which now is official, what goes on last? Does it put the red belt on last because you want to establish the red belt? Or does this go on last? And even if you look at last year, Rob, with Summer Destiny, Julian Suri went on last to crown the first ever champion. You talk about that show, you think about that show, what's the first thing you think of? IYO and Utami, because and that main event was great. But everybody, when you think about that match, the first thing you think about was IYO and Utami. So if Mika Wano and Utami are going to have to go on last, I mean, they're great wrestlers, very capable. But again, you're talking about the two best women's wrestlers of all time, still in their prime. And again, Mayu coming off, in my opinion, her best in-ring year ever, and crushing it in Marigold. And again, even before she signed Marigold, that first 4 months she had with Stardom was great. That match with Shuri, one of my favorite matches of the year at All-Star Grand Queendom. In my opinion, the best IWGP Joshi match in the short history of that championship. And IYO, not only from an in-ring perspective, but like, she's getting character building stuff on WWE, which again, they're an entertainment company first. Like, IYO is a character that English isn't her first language, that is connecting on another level with the WWE audience, which is a very difficult thing to do. So you mix all that in. I mean, this is going to be great. I would be shocked if this sells, depending on how the building scaled, Rob, I'd be shocked if this sells less than 4,000 tickets.
Yeah, there's a couple of interesting things there. I mean, we used the analogy of WrestleMania 18, didn't we, with this before, where, yes, okay, Rock and Hogan wasn't the main event, but it's the match that everyone remembers. And ultimately, Jericho and Triple H suffered because of how good that match was. Now, there is not, obviously, I stand firmly by the fact that Utami needs to main event this pay-per-view. That's just me.
I agree. Sorry.
On the flip side of that, this for me has a completely other dimension to it than the IYO and Utami match. This is a generational battle. This is, one that the likes of which we aren't going to see again. I'd love at the end of this for EO to say, let's do Thunder Rock once more, and maybe if First Dream happens in January like it did this year, maybe we'll see Thunder Rock again. I doubt it, because obviously EO's very tied up in WWE, but that'll be lovely. Wherever this goes, it's going to steal the show. And Japanese shows aren't. So whereas with the WWE and with AEW, they will put on a blockbuster match first to open that card, it's very rare that we have that with Japanese shows or with Joshi shows, certainly, because I would actually argue that maybe this goes on first. But
bold move. Bold move, sir.
Again, it's IYO versus Mayu. You can't, I just don't feel like you can put that on first. I mean, we're not going to answer that question, obviously. We'd love to know where you think this match should go, because again, I don't feel like there's a wrong answer. My personal opinion, as I've said before, Itami and Miku, I don't know, should main event. I'm really intrigued to see the result of this match, because I'll be honest, it screams 30-minute time limit draw to me.
No, this is an EO win. I see your point. This is an EO win.
Do you think they put EO over? Do you think?
Yeah, they're
EO
not
over. Do you think she needs it?
here's
that rookie.
Yeah, you got to get her over. I mean, here's the thing. It's be one thing if EO was like in the mid card, like kind of like how I love Shinsuke Nakamura, but Shinsuke Nakamura is like a mid card wrestler right now, currently in WWE. So we've seen him time to time go to New Japan and Noah and do some stuff, here or there. But EO's on top of the world, like pun intended. Like,
not just that, Matt. Sorry to interrupt
no,
you.
Please, brother.
Not just that, but there is I don't even think it's an argument at this point. The women's division is outstripping the men's division in WWE at the moment. I don't even feel like it's a competition. Well, yeah, true. But in WWE, the women are absolutely killing the men week in, week out. And who's, spearheading that? It's IYO SKY. Not just because of, the entertainment value, but because she's so good in ring. I mean, AJ Styles has done an interview very, very, very recently, and he's gone on record saying how in awe he is of IYO SKY and Asuka, and just how good they are in ring. And I think to be good at the entertainment side of it is by the by for me personally, for my taste. But obviously, to be a success in WWE, you've got to have that. But IYO has almost transcended that in the fact that she is pound for pound the best worker in that entire company, irrespective of gender. I would put her against absolutely anyone in that company, and she is the best in ring.
What this match is going to do too, but I was just thinking about this. You're going to see a lot. Again, there's the WWE fan. Again, if wrestling is subjective, you can like what you like. The numbers don't lie. WWE is number 1, 2, 3, and 4. I mean, they're so monumentally huge. It's insane.
Like, they're so far ahead. Yeah, there's no way anyone's catching them.
When you're doing like 17, 18,000 people on like a SmackDown where it's mostly like 1 or 2 matches and then there's a whole bunch of ads, that's wild.
And it's £1 billion a ticket.
Yeah, I mean, and the ticket prices are insane. And then when you have a foreign country offering you supposedly $200 million to bring the WrestleMania over there, that's wild. That's wild. But so you're going to have a lot of people, because IYO's a massive. This is her star right now is bigger than it's ever been. It's only going to continue to get bigger because of the plans that they have for her, and she's crushing everything. So you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of WWE fans that are going to tune into this, whether it's live on pay-per-view or whether it's because they're going to want to watch this. Like, they're going to say, okay, IYO, who everybody loves, everybody knows she's from Japan. She's going back over to Japan to wrestle a match. And I hope that WWE does some sort of publicity. And I'm not saying them give a full ad on Raw, which would be nice, but like tweet something out. Hit the WWE, hit the retweet button. That's it. Just hit the retweet button. That's it.
Retweet button. Absolutely.
That's it. They have like 70 million people on social media. Hit that share button. That's it. It takes a half a second. So what's going to happen, Rob? And think about this. This is a very good possibility. They're going to watch this match not knowing. You're going to have a lot of people watch this match because of IYO. A lot of people don't know who Mayu is. And you know that Mayu is going to absolutely crush it because 1, she's Mayu, and 2, she's in the ring with IYO. People are going to fall in love with Mayu, Rob, because they've never seen her before. And then once they do a deep dive on Mayu, they're going to go through that Mayu catalog, the Momo matches, the Shuri matches, the Utami matches, not only in Stardom but Marigold as well, the Victoria Yuzuki match that she just had. There's a very good possibility this could be a career-changing match, not only for Mayu, not only for Marigold, but maybe even Stardom as well. Because where's Mayu done the bulk of her work? Stardom, obviously. She's only been in Marigold just a few months. So people are going to be like, what's this Marigold? What's this Stardom? And then they're going to fall down the rabbit hole like we see a lot of people doing as of late. I mean, you look at Mariah May, she went over to AEW TV. She was on that program for all of about an hour, and all of a sudden, all my social medias were blowing up. Well, who's this Mariah May? Who's this Mariah May? And then people started falling down the Stardom rabbit hole. And then, once Momo wrestled Mercedes not that long ago, I think it was earlier this year, people were like, who's this Momo Watanabe? People started falling down the Stardom rabbit hole. So I think this is going to be obviously major for Mayu. Again, look at that match catalog, Rap. I mean, you did a huge deep dive on Mayu's career, folks, and go back in the archives not that long ago. Rob did a phenomenal. It's a write-up. It's an audio podcast. He did a great job. There's no bigger Mayu fan than Rob. No disrespect to Scotty Wrestling, but I will back my boy up. There's no bigger Mayu fan. Rob flew all the way across the world to meet Mayu.
Saudi is a different kettle of fish. Scott is number 1, 2, 3, and 4, in fairness. But I will challenge him to a singles match for Mayu.
And a 4.5. Where I stand on that, I'm sorry, I'll get back on Kilter. Rob flew from England to Philadelphia to meet Mayu. It was meet Mayu, hang out with Matt Turner. And I know I'm number 2 in that last, and I got no problem with that. Nothing wrong with Silver, buddy.
You know your worth.
Nothing wrong with Silver. But anywho, so again, look at Mayu's catalog. I mean, maybe the best in-ring women's wrestler of all time. It's either her or Io. Different days, they'll get different answers. But you're going to have people, again, the WWE fan base are going to watch, not everyone, but you're going to get a lot of people that are going to watch this match. They're going to be like, what is this Mayu Iwatani? Fall down that rabbit hole. And I think Mayu's stock is going to raise huge on a worldwide basis after this match. It's going to help Marigold. And again, I think indirectly it's going to help Stardom because again, bulk of that match listing is the Stardom stuff. The Shuri match, the Momo match, the Io matches. There's a lot there. So I think this match is going to be so huge, not only for the business, but especially for Joshi, but mainly for Mayu. And I'm so excited for the world to know what we've known for a long time, what a truly special 1 in a billion talent Mayu Iwatani is. And again, Rob, the fact that we get to see, in my opinion, the 2 greatest women in-ring competitors of all time wrestle in 2025. Again, we're never going to see Flair, versus Steamboat again. We're never going to see Bret Hart versus Shawn Michaels again. Obviously, Misawa's passed away. We're never going to see Misawa versus Kawada or whoever you think the 2 greatest in-ring men wrestlers are of all time. Probably never going to happen in 2025. But again, in my opinion, with all due respect to the Toyotas and the Charlotte Flairs and the Mercedes Monets of the world, they're all great. They are 1 and 1A. It's Mayu, Io, and I don't even know who number 3 is. But the fact that we get this again and we get to watch it live, the fact that we get to watch this live, because we've never seen the Io Mayu matches from 16, 17, and 18. We never got to see them live. The fact that we're going to be able to watch this live, the fact I'll be yelling and screaming in this room around 3 a.m., maybe wake up the neighbors. It's going to be exciting, buddy. It's going to be exciting times. And again, how blessed are we? How blessed are we? I mean, what do you got to complain about, folks? And the fact that we got this announced, and then the next day we had Azumi versus Saya Kamatani, like, you're Joe. Again, this is why tribalism in wrestling's dumb. Watch it all, enjoy it all. I mean, what a great time to be alive, buddy. What a great time to be alive.
I mean, just from a personal standpoint, this is a dream match. And for the reason that you outlined exactly, the Io and Mayu feud, though, that trilogy of matches, and I know that there were other singles matches, but that famous trilogy for the Red Belt is the whole crux of Stardom for me. And, obviously I'm writing books, and every single time I'm doing books, it always comes down to a match between these 2. It's huge for Marigold, enormous for Marigold. They are obviously going to reap the benefits. There's going to be more eyes on it, more international eyes on it, because as you mentioned, Io is a bigger star now than she was in 2024. I just had to do a quick check that she wasn't the women's champion last year at the time of Summer Destiny, but she wasn't. It was Liv Morgan. But I'd argue that Io is a bigger star now. I think that her versus Mayu for Mayu as well is the importance can't be understated, because Mayu when she first got into Stardom was a runaway with little to no money in her pocket. Rossi had to literally look after her, had to take her clothes to the laundromat and get them washed and all sorts. And IYO SKY, or IYO SKY, she was then, was the person that took her under a wing, not just in ring with first the Planet stable and then, of course, Thunder Rock more famously. And then, of course, that trio of matches, which was arguable, well, not even arguable, it was the making of Mayu as an in-ring competitor, but also outside of the ring. Mayu was countless times called IYO her big sister, and having Mayu, after everything she's given, after everything she's given to wrestling, she gave to Stardom, and now she's giving to Marigold, to see her have this moment where it seems like just a reward for her, it feels like such a cathartic moment. And, fans of Mayu, this is the match we wanted. This is the match we wanted one more time for Mayu before she rides off into the sunset. Mayu's mentioned retirement, about 400 times. Like in 2016, she wanted to retire to become a pet groomer. Yeah, I know.
I
Typical
literally,
Mayu.
not to interrupt, but I was going for you every now and again in the afternoon. I'll go for an afternoon walk. There's a really beautiful park about 2 miles away from my house, and you just dropped that Mayu episode that you did solo, and I was listening to it as I was going on my walk, and you mentioned that Mayu is going to be a pet groomer. I literally start laughing out loud. The people that were walking and running by me, they just looked at me that I'm like laughing with nobody there. This guy's nuts. Stay away from him. It's crazy. Just want to make men. You popped me with that, buddy.
Jenny, I was reading the interview again. Of course, she wanted to be a pet groomer. I think she'd be great at it, but there we are. But yeah, I think it's going to be, again, just to summarize this, because again, I feel like we could talk about this for the full 2-hour podcast. It's a great moment for Marigold, because for this match to happen and it not to happen in Stardom, I don't think that's been touched on enough. Like
Good point.
these two are the linchpins of Stardom, and after everything that happened in 2015 with Aki Asakawa and Yoshiko, it was Mayu, IYO, and Kairi that dragged that company back from the brink. And for them to have another match and it not be in a Stardom ring is huge. It's huge for Marigold. It's huge for Mayu. And it's huge for us as fans, because ultimately, we're the winners. We get to watch this as, again, like, I don't know what 2:30. In fact, I'm going to check now what time 2:30 p.m. is, because I've got a horrible feeling.
That's
2:30 p.m.
That's 1:30 a.m. for me, I believe.
Oh, fantastic! 3:30 in the morning. Get in. I don't want to say that. So, no, it isn't. Oh no, because it's 5 hours. Come on, Rob, you can do that. That's basic
It'll be
maths. It's
4:30 for you, yeah.
6:30 in the morning for me. I'm 5 hours ahead of you.
That's right. We have to keep in mind though. I think daylight savings time between us is a week off as well. I
Oh
think we have
God,
daylight savings time the next week.
no, Matt, I'm
Yeah.
still not well. Don't make me do bloody
Anywho,
daylight savings time. Anyway,
yeah. I just want to say
moving on.
there's one last thing. I was just thinking about this. Like when anybody that knows me knows I'm a huge fan of All Japan in the '90s, and you had to split with Noah and All Japan. You remember when we finally got that Misawa versus Kawada final match? It's the biggest drawing match in the history of pro wrestling, Noah, to this day, and it was a really good match. Their main event at the Tokyo Dome, but Misawa and Kawada were a few years past their prime. We're getting the buzz here with Mayu and IYO,
They're
but
both in prime, yeah.
they're in their prime, Robin. Who would have thought? We thought maybe one day when IYO goes back to Japan and these ladies are kind of in their 40s or 50s, there's a possibility it'll be a good match, but nostalgia is going to draw it. Like, no, we're getting it, both of them in their prime. So yeah, again, obviously we're going to touch upon this probably a little more each and every week as we get to Grand Destiny over the next month. But again, I mean, I'm not sure if you guys can tell from us talking about this for half an hour. We're slightly excited for this match in this show.
Do you know what would be the biggest kick in the face
No,
ever?
don't.
If 5 minutes in, the lights go down, lights come back up, Evil's in there. IYO joins House of Torture, rolls Mayu up after just a huge schmoz, and then IYO's the latest member of the House of Torture. Imagine it.
I'll one up that, buddy. I'll one up that. So then they beat down Mayu. The lights go off. The lights come back on, and then Mayu has joined Darkness Revolution Army. So there you go. We get a cage match.
Just a
House of
clash.
Torture. War game. And Regal comes in. War games. And all of a sudden, a cage starts lowering. Like, we didn't see that. What's going on?
The lights go down again. The lights come up. Everyone has gone out of the ring apart from Megaton, who's standing there. Everything else has gone, and she's just like, ah. That's it. That's how the show ends.
She's standing there with the NWA championship because why not? Oh my goodness.
Anyway, got off the rails. Let's move on. Unfortunately, from this amazing piece of news, we unfortunately move on to something significantly more heartbreaking, and that is that unfortunately Kouki Amarei was wrestling on the Zushi Pro Wrestling Festival on September 27th. Unfortunately, during the match, she fractured her left clavicle and will be out of action indefinitely. So she will absolutely be missing Grand Destiny. I don't know the recovery time of a fractured left clavicle, but I can't imagine that it is a quick turnaround. Obviously, depends how bad the fracture is, depends on whether surgery is needed. It's heartbreaking for Kouki, having just come back from an ACL injury, having not had surgery, having raced back in like 5 months, which was a mad turnaround in the first place. And then to get to the point where, you know, when she had that injury, it felt like she was being positioned as one of the top stars in the company. To then come back from a really bad injury to get to a point where it started to feel like, okay, Kouki's back to where she was pre-injury. They just put her back together. They did this huge angle, which, you know, you spoke about last week, Matt, where Kouki was put back together with Chika Goto, with the Twin Towers about together, and it looked like they were going to take on Magenta for the belts, probably dethrone Magenta for the belts, maybe at Grand Destiny. And just, there's never great timing to be injured. But Kouki Amarei, that honestly, I've it's been a while since I felt this sorry for someone as I do for Kouki, and obviously all our best wishes go out to her because this poor woman cannot catch a break.
No, you're right. Again, she's positioned to have one of the biggest matches at Grand Destiny, or at First Dream. You know, was third from the main event, defending the Pro Wrestling Noah Joshi Championship against Chika Goto. They did a lot of great steam behind it. It was going to be Utami #1, Kouki #2 as far as star power goes, and Kouki was just maximizing every second she had in the ring. She gets injured there. You're absolutely right. She comes back. You know, she gets the ring rust off at the perfect time. Like, it seemed like just at the start of the Dream Star, really seemed like, okay, she's back into form. Had a really great Dream Star Grand Prix. Had a lot of really great matches. Was one of the standout performers of the entire tournament, which is saying something because the Dream Star was phenomenal. And then, yeah, and then I'm like, then there were just the way that these Wrestle Universe shows, these house shows as we call them, the way they were kind of setting things up, like maybe they're putting Chika Goto and Kouki Amarei back together, which I'm all for because it looks like they have the red belt scene plan and the United National Championship, the white belt scene plan. I'm like, let's go for that because we know we eventually got to get the belts off Magenta because they're not contracted through Marigold. So that would make sense. And it did seem like then Chika Goto cuts the promo, as you just mentioned. This is the way they're going. Do it at the biggest show you're going to do all year. This makes perfect sense. You're going to get a lot of eyeballs on Kouki Amarei and Chika Goto, and that match with Magenta is going to be fantastic. I'm like, boy, we're really loading up this card. And then you find out just the other day that Kouki Amarei got injured. Like, oh, like literally, again, there's never a good time to get injured. I don't know if there's any two worse times for Kouki Amarei to get injured. You know, the beginning of this year, and then again, it's absolutely heartbreaking for a competitor we absolutely love and is so endearing with the fans. And she puts everything into each and every performance. And I was like, oh. So it does look like, Rob, that, you know, not unless something switches, it probably will be, my guess will be Magenta versus Chika Goto and Namayuki because they've been teaming up quite a bit. Maybe that's the way that they go. Now, whether Magenta retains or not, I don't know. It's still going to be a great match. Don't get me wrong. But it's just like Kouki Amarei is such a star that she would be like, no disrespect to any of those other three ladies, like she'd be the biggest star in that match and probably have a really great breakout performance, or not breakout performance, because she's had those really strong performance and positioned really well after that big match. But just, you're right, but it's absolutely unfortunate. She gets 2 injuries in the same year. They really can't come at a worse time. They really, really can't. So again, hopefully she comes back. Hopefully she comes back better than ever. Hopefully this isn't something that deters her from being injured. I mean, look at what happened with Naho Yamada. You look at Ryoko Satomura. Again, we don't know why they left the roster, but maybe it was something where they were just upset of the injury, and it was just like, maybe this isn't for me. Hopefully this isn't something where it's like, I've had 2 injuries in less than a year. Hopefully, something that she can come back from, buddy.
Yeah, I think she's mid to late 20s, Kouki Amarei, so she's still got time. I'm hoping, I know that, and again, I am basing this solely off my friend who broke his collarbone, and I think he was in a cast for, well, he was in a sling for, I'm sure it was 3 months, which of course takes Kouki out until next year. Which again, it's just devastating for her, because again, you're absolutely right. I have a feeling that the way they were building the Twin Towers and that reconciliation between her and Chika Goto, you got the impression that they were going to be the ones to dethrone Magenta. Probably at Grand Destiny would have been a great match. Minami Yuki is fantastic. Minami Yuki has made great strides. Again, is one of those that I think has benefited massively from the dojo and Shuji Kondo's training and so on and so forth. I don't think they beat Magenta.
No.
I'd be very, very surprised. I think, again, you're absolutely right. If you do put that on at Grand Destiny, I think they will have a good match, but I don't feel like Magenta dropped them there, which then, of course, depending on how Victoria Yuzuki does in her match at Grand Destiny, which you talked about last week, or we talked about last week, it could potentially fall to Celine Flora. And, we've what a dreadful time for Mariah to announce that she'll be leaving before Grand Destiny. I mean, yeah. I mean, Kouki Amarei gone through injury, Mariah gone through choice. I think Komomo Minami is back. I think her eye injury, I think is sorted. She's been advertised for the shows on the 4th, the 11th, and the 13th, so she'll be back. But Ryoko Sakimura going as well. Naho Yamada going. It's going to be interesting to see how the undercard of this show fills up, because the top half of the card, and again, we're going to go into 2 more matches that have been announced for this card, are stacked. So it'll be really, really interesting to see what they do with the likes of the Darkness Revolution and Misamatsu. He's not in a match yet. Obviously, we've still got Natsumi Shozuki out with an injury. I don't know what her prognosis for recovery is like at the moment. There's quite a lot of people without matches, but also Marigold are sort of unfortunately losing people left, right, and center at the moment through a whole host of different reasons. Thankfully, as I mentioned at the top of the show, Marigold have a deeper roster than they did this time last year. I think this could have been the worst possible outcome last year if they'd have lost this amount of people ahead of Summer Destiny, for example. But again, I think we do have enough coverage. You've got Rhea Sato, who doesn't have a match. You've got Kazumi Tanaka and Shino in a singles match, which I'm very, very excited for. Obviously, you've got the likes of Misamatsu, as I mentioned, who doesn't have a match yet. And obviously, our Lord and Savior Megaton is without a match as well at the moment. If they need to parachute her in and give her the 3-way for the title, I'm sure she'll be more than happy.
Do you think that they do Megaton versus Utami versus Miko Ano, and then after Megaton wins, then it's Megaton versus Mayu versus IYO, and then Megaton wins that? Like, if that's probably the way to go, Rob, because we haven't booked enough crazy scenarios.
You know how Unagi booked herself in every single match at her Ryogoku Produce show? The only way I can see Marigold drawing any tickets whatsoever, like putting any bums in seats whatsoever, is to put Megaton in every single match. And again, I can't possibly see how that would be a bad thing.
You know what I was just thinking? They if you Tokyo Joshi Pro, whenever they do, which we're now covering on on Talk Joshi. I absolutely love it because they have like great wrestling and they have wild stuff, like really wild. But I think it was their Grand Princess a couple years ago. They booked, I think it was Maki Ito versus Minoru Suzuki. They need to
Yeah.
book Megaton versus Minoru Suzuki.
Oh my God, stop it.
The fact that you booked all this crazy stuff.
The submission adverse Megaton against the exponent of the cross arm breaker. I can't think how badly that would go for her. But yeah, obviously, just to sort of tie this off, we wish nothing but the best for Kouki Amarei, and hopefully, again, she recovers quickly and she's able to find that momentum again and rise to the top of this card, because genuinely she earned it, and then she had it taken from her. She earned it again, and then has had it taken from her. So fingers crossed that Kouki is able to recover, and this is only a small setback for her. Fingers crossed. But yes, unfortunately, Kouki Amarei out indefinitely after fracturing her left clavicle. Moving on then, 2 more matches have been announced for Grand Destiny. As I mentioned, there will be a singles match, a second generation daughters match between Shino and Kazuna Tanaka. That's been made official after they discussed it at the show in Osaka that we're going to be talking about, with their respective mothers as seconds. Now, Shino's mother, Michiko Omukai, and Kazuna Tanaka's mother, which is Yumi Fukawa, were teammates in ASEAN, and I believe they teamed in All Japan Women as well. So very familiar with each other. They will be accompanying their daughters to the ring. That has been confirmed. We also have a singles match between Seri Yamaoka and Chihiro Hashimoto. Now, Seri Yamaoka did turn up to the September 28th Sendai Girls show to extend the challenge to Chihiro Hashimoto. Big Hash accepted. Seri Yamaoka attempted a double leg takedown. Hashimoto obliterated her. Now, if you remember, this was a couple of weeks ago, Mayu would put forward the idea of a Superfly championship match, and Seri Yamaoka had actually said, I've got something else I need to do. I've got another match in mind. This was clearly that match. This is going to be great. I mean, what a first year in wrestling Seri Yamaoka had. I mean, let's just have a look at that for a second. Teamed with Nanae Takahashi, debuted against Mirai, is now wrestling Chihiro Hashimoto, amongst a whole host of other things that she's done as well. Like this, what a fantastic first year in wrestling.
Yeah, I just want to touch upon Shino versus Kazuna Tanaka. Like, I get the whole, and I like the whole thing that you're putting their mothers, who were tag team before, in the corner. I think that's really cool.
It is cool.
But where's Minoru Tanaka? Where's Minoru? You know I was going to go there. I love Minoru. Where's Kazuna's dad? Where's Minoru Tanaka? But again, I think it's really, really cool. Hopefully they show him in the crowd and he puts somebody in an armbar.
Maybe. Who knows? Fingers crossed.
Rob, before when we do our review of our preview of this show in a handful of weeks, we definitely need to set an under, over, or double leg takedowns in this match and German suplexes in this match. So we have to figure that out. Because
all I can see in my head is just going over and over Seri Yamaoka just being hit with that huge Albright suplex that Hash does. And again, just quickly, just to repeat, Seri Yamaoka is not a year into her wrestling career yet, has pinned Mayu Iwatani clean, has wrestled Takumi Aroha in a singles match, is going to be wrestling Big Hash, debuted against Mirai and took her to the time limit, and has been a twin star champion alongside Nanae Takahashi. She's 18.
Clearly the rookie of the year in all of wrestling. I mean,
oh yeah,
folks, please let me know if there's a rookie in not in Joshi, not in Japan, not in women's wrestling. If there's a better rookie that's had a better rookie year this year than Seri Yamaoka, please let me know. Sanka was close. And we love us some Sanka. But I mean, what what Seri's doing and continue doing is going to do on this show. And this is styles make fights, and this is like, when I saw that this was challenged and this match was official for Grand Destiny, I'm like, this makes perfect sense. They have the same style, that amateur style that they like to use the throws, again, the double legs, the forearms, the Germans. And obviously, Hashimoto has arguably the best German suplex in all of wrestling right now. If you go back and watch her match, I believe it was Mika Wad not that long ago. Not only does she give a great German suplex, she takes a great German suplex. Like she really knows how to take it and really knows how to pop her hips. So her opponent's German looks really good. So I'm excited for these two wrestlers to go absolutely flying throughout Sumo Hall. But man, it's just this card looks insane. Like, I mean, those, you have the two big championship matches. You have obviously Mayu and IYO, versus which we talked about, and that's obviously the match that I think everybody's looking forward to the most. This match is a really good possibility to steal the undercard. Like, this is going to be terrific. This is going to be my jam. The catch can amateur style with the suplexes and the saltos, the lateral drops. Like, this is going to be right up my alley. I think this might be the easiest one to predict, but it's still going to be great. Again, that's why when we do this preview, we'll have to set an under-over for double leg takedowns and German suplexes in said match. I'm super excited for this one. I mean, again, Marigold is really pulling out all the stops for this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of these matches, because again, Shino has been tremendously impressive in the matches that she's had. And again, there's a lot that is spoken about in regards to the future of Marigold, Sari Amoka, Victoria Yuzuki, Shino. You've also, you can put the likes of Minami Yuki in there, the likes of Komomo Minami, the likes of Yuki Yamazaki, Ria Sato. But these women are doing fantastic jobs at the moment, never mind in the future, never mind when they've got 2, 3, 4 years in the bank. Look at Seriyama Oka's year. She's not a year into her wrestling career and has already had a phenomenal wrestling debut and has looked every inch the part. We talked very briefly near the start of her career that yes, she had all the moves, but she needs those little nuances that sort of go along with the moves. And I think that's something that she has worked on tremendously hard, especially during the Dream Star Grand Prix. It was really, really clear that she'd been working on that. But again, Marigold investing heavily in the youth, and I think that's going to pay dividends for them, certainly, because again, the likes of Yuki Yamazaki, who at the moment is, she is occasionally getting the odd main event on the house shows, even if she is there to take the pinfall. Nagisa Takibana, who again is improving tenfold, is currently out with an injury, unfortunately, but hopefully will be returning shortly. There's a lot of youth coming through. There's a lot of nurturing coming through Marigold. And to see Sari Amoka get a match like this on a stage like this just indicates just how far she's come. And again, look at Kazuna Tanaka, where she was at Summer Destiny a year into her Marigold run. I'd like to see her higher up the card, obviously, because we love Kazuna Tanaka. And I do think that we'll get there. We will get there, especially, I would argue, next year's Dream Star. I think there will be a huge shift for Kazuna Tanaka, and whether that's because her and Victoria Yuzuki have taken the Twin Star belts, or whether that's because more of a focus has been put on her as a singles competitor, I think there is a lot to look forward to. So yeah, Grand Destiny, again, Shino versus Kazuna Tanaka, and Seri Yamoka versus Chihiro Hashimoto, both being made official for Grand Destiny. And it's official because they're on match graphics. So it's definitely official. I believe, by the way, even though Chihiro Hashimoto is currently the Sendai Girls World Champion, I believe that this isn't for the title. I believe it is just a singles match. But if I'm wrong, please correct me. Moving on then, just a couple more bits of news before we get into the show reviews. The next Marigold Korakuen Hall show takes place on the 13th of October. At the top of the card, we have got the Superfly Championship title match between Mayu Iwatani and Seri Yamoka, which obviously is going to be a great match. It will be Mayu's third defense of that Superfly title. But also on that card, this will be Mirai's final card before she departs the company. The full card is as follows. So, three-way match will open the show. Now Ishikawa versus Hummingbird versus Megaton. Tag team match, Chikagoto and Minami Yuki versus the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Ria Sato. 6-woman tag team match with Victoria Yuzuki versus Victoria Yuzuki, Kazuna Tanaka, and Nagisa Takibana, who will be back, versus Komomo Minami, Yuki Yamazaki, and Shino. literally all the youth in that 6-woman tag that we've just talked about. Red belt preliminary match. This, of course, is just 2 weeks out from Grand Destiny, with Utami Hayashishita and Chanyota versus Miko Ano and Arina Yamanaka. Mirai's last match. Mirai and Mai Sakurai, Mirai Saku versus Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki of the Darkness Revolution, and then the aforementioned Superfly title match between Mayu Iwatani and Seri Yamaoka. Matt, obviously, again, desperately sad that Mirai's leaving. Are you any more inclined to think that this is a work?
No, because I think they did announce. I think the next day they're doing like that 1 minute gauntlet with her, like they did with Julia, like they always do. I think they made, yeah, there it is right there. So that wouldn't make any sense for oh, they're doing it 2 days before. They did it here, and then if they do a heel turn, to me that would look cheap. That would look really, really cheap as like almost like an underhook way to like sell tickets and to get some buzz. Like the fact that she's leaving, we're giving her this big farewell. I don't think it's going to happen. There's a possibility, sure, but I think Marigold would come off really cheap, and Rossi's not that type of a booker. So I don't think it's going to happen. Rob, how about you?
It will get some dramatic heat on Mirai, having effectively scammed people out of their money under false pretenses. Again, we talked about this before. I don't think that she is going to stay in Marigold. I think the chances are that she is going to go on to be a freelancer. I would love to know more of the motivation as to what's caused this, but again, it's more a case of her wanting to test her wings. She's been under Rossi now, for what, 2.5 years, 3 years now, and just wants to do her own thing. And fair enough. As you did point out, Matt, they did announce that on the 11th of October, just 2 days before the Korakuen show, Marigold will be going back to the 176 box in Osaka, which seems to be their second home at the moment, where Mirai will be doing the All-Star Gauntlet against every single member of the roster in 1-minute matches, which, considering this show has Shino and Flying Penguin on it, as well as the people who are usually on the roster as well. It's going to be a long ass match. That it's going to be a very, very long match. Strap in, because that could well be over an hour. That one.
Yeah, look out. A lot of lariats. A lot of lariats.
Lot of lariats. Matt, that's enough of the news. Let's talk about the two shows that we are going to talk about today. We start with the second night of the Battle Heart 2025 tour from the 21st of September 2025 from Kirames Numazu in Shizuoka. Attendance 245 people. It's Marigold's debut in the venue, though it is the fourth show at the venue in 2025. And this outdrew Dragon Gate's Hopeful Gate in May, which drew 232. So a good number there for Marigold. The cards did have to be altered slightly because the night before, on the 20th of September, Kamoma Minami sustained an eye injury, which meant that she was unable to be on this card and on the card for Osaka on the 23rd as well. In terms of the results, then, we open with a singles match. Now Ishikawa defeated Yuki Yamazaki with the double arm facebuster in 8 minutes and 27 seconds. Another singles match, Kazuna Tanaka defeated Megaton with the arm breaker in 5 minutes and 5 seconds. Singles match, Kouki Amarei defeated Hummingbird with a pinfall reverse on 6 minutes and 15 seconds. 6-woman tag team match, Mayu Iwatani, Mai Sakurai, and Chanyota defeated Utami Hayashishita, Chika Goto, and Minami Yuki. Chanyota getting the pinfall over Minami Yuki with a jackhammer in 17 minutes and 26 seconds. And then in your main event, 8-woman tag team match, Miko Ano, Victoria Yuzuki, Mirai, and Seri Yamaoka defeated the Darkness Revolution team of the Misamatsu, Chiaki, Nagisa Nozaki, and Rhea Sato. Seri pinning Rhea with a German suplex in 13 minutes and 39 seconds. Matt Turner, it is always a good day when you can start these shows with a Now Ishikawa victory.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. You had Now Ishikawa and Yuki Yamazaki again, two of the, obviously Yuka's only a rookie. Now Ishikawa is something that hopefully they're starting to build back up again. bet because she had a really good first year for Marigold. Again, solid opener, really good stuff, really great chain wrestling back and forth between the two. Then you get some near falls, a lot of great roll ups towards the end. You didn't know which way it was going to go, but ultimately it's Mayu Iwatani using her version of Angel's Wings, getting the win. I had this at 3.5 stars.
Yuki Yamazaki's an interesting one because I think she's really good in ring, but hasn't quite been pushed, obviously, in the same way as a Sari Yamaoka, as obviously. However, I think there is a lot of upside to Yuka, and I think over the next year to 18 months, we're going to see her pushed steadily up the card because, again, there is a lot of upside to the Nanawa Mad Dog. Very, very exciting wrestler. Really, really enjoy watching her. Kazuna Tanaka getting a sing. I was very conflicted during this match. I'm not going to lie, Matt, because obviously we've talked about how we want to see Kazuna Tanaka rocking up more wins. Very disappointing Dream Star in terms of results. And she picks up a win, but she picks up a win over Megaton. And again, I don't understand. There should be some sort of honor code in wrestling where if you know someone doesn't like submissions, don't lock a submission on them. But no, nevertheless, Megaton unfortunately submitted instantly with an arm breaker, but Kazuna Tanaka picks up a crucial, hopefully momentum building singles victory.
Yeah, this one obviously again, Kazuna Tanaka is one of our favorite wrestlers in this company. Megaton she's a slice of life. She's funny. It's always entertaining.
Good way of
This
describing it.
Yes, and a good way of describing this match would be there was a Styles Clash, and I don't mean the finisher, the Styles Clash.
Yes.
I will say 3 stars, and I will say nice seeing Kazuna Tanaka get a win. And yeah,
that's that. Yeah, there's not a great deal to talk about at a shade over 5 minutes, in fairness. Kouki Amarei versus Hummingbird. Then again, it's so sad seeing in retrospect, obviously, Kouki Amarei building all of this momentum, and then obviously what happened in a couple of days ago with the injury. It's really quite sad. But this was a really good match. I enjoyed this. And again, Hummingbird continues to be really solid on this undercard.
this was great. Kouki Amarei was trying to work that like the high speed superfly style in the beginning, and Hummingbird's like, no way. And you can see Hummingbird's going fast, and you can see Koki's out of her element. And all of a sudden, Koki's just watching. Boom, big boot. I'm like, okay,
Big
now
boot.
we're gonna slow it down. And I like how Hummingbird was like, now I got you in my game. And Kouki realized if I played this game with Hummingbird, I'm not gonna win. It was just the one shot that she needed. Then Hummingbird does a great job coming back. She does the bird's nest, which I believe that's that tarantula style submission. I think I could have sworn I read that. If it's not, that's what we're calling it now. That's what we're calling it.
Absolutely.
I liked it. And again, these two, and I did make mention on the match we just talked about that they styles clash. These two have 2 completely different styles, but they made it work. This was great. It's one of my favorite matches on this card. These two just work really well together. Hummingbird knows how to sell Koki's offense. Kouki knows how to get Hummingbird over. Really great stuff. But I think that you read the wrong result, buddy. I had a Kouki Amarei. She hits the big boot because she was working over Hummingbird's back. You said it was a pin reversal. It was a lion tamer. It was basically a version of the lion tamer.
I apologize if I typed the wrong thing. I might have typed the wrong thing. I apologize.
Yeah. So, anywho, Kouki Amarei getting the win with a lion tamer. I just wish this match went a little bit longer because these two were really, really cooking. 3.5 stars for me. I thoroughly enjoyed this one. And I think you got the finish in the. I think you got the finish in the next match wrong as well, buddy. That's okay.
Oh, okay. I didn't think I had. Chanyota pinning Minami Yuki.
That was match number 5. The next match is Rhea Saito and Nagisune. Yeah, I think you just flipped it. That's okay.
Flip the ones. That's fine. But I do think that with Hummingbird, we need to make more bird puns. So, for example, I think that her roll-up should be called the bird feeder. I think whenever she uses a table, it should be called the bird table. I don't think that there should be any I love the bird's nest as the submission. I think that's perfect. Any more bird-based puns for Hummingbird's arsenal, I think, can only be beneficial.
Do you know that Hummingbird is a big fan of 1980s NBA basketball, Rob?
I didn't, but I'm sure you're going to tell me.
Yeah, her favorite player is Boston Celtics' own Larry Bird.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Right, ladies and gentlemen, obviously the semi-main event is Miku Ano Mirai, Victoria Yuzuki and Sari Yamaoka versus the Darkness Revolution, not the 6-woman tag that I mentioned earlier because I got it in slightly the wrong order. Matt, what did you think of this, good sir?
This was great. Again, I love it when we have Darkness of Revolution. I like them as singles. I like them as tag, but I like it when the gang's all there. The gang is all there. Obviously, Misa Matsui, Ria Sato, Nagisa Nozaki and Chiaki. Again, really, really work so well together as a unit, as a heel unit. But you look on the other side, who do you have? Super rookie Sarah Yamaoka. Victoria Zuki now pushes one of your biggest stars in this company. Mirai, we know she's on her way out, but regardless, she's still Mirai. And Miko Ano, the winner of the Dream Star just a few weeks ago, and obviously going on to be one of the main events at what is going to be one of the biggest shows in all of wrestling coming up in about 1 month's time. And it was a simple story to tell. You had you had the big brawl to start, where you can kind of tell where it's like the game plan in this. Like I could just see like a strategy plan from Darkness Revolution Army. It's like, look, like there's a lot of heavy hitters in this match, but we're a team and we know how to cheat. So that's what we're going to do. And they get their output right to go. It's just like, boom, wild brawl. They get the brawl there. We get heat onto Miko Ano. Or we get heat onto Victoria Zuki. Miko Ano comes in for the save. And then it's just like hard hitting all over. Mirai with the hard hitting. Miko Ano with the hard hitting. Victoria Zuki using those lightning fast, like the basement drop kicks and the super kick and just lightning fast speed. And then you have Sarah Yamaoka. It's kind of like the grinder, with that amateur style. So I thoroughly like that. Eventually, though, Ria Sato starts breaking down Sarah Yamaoka. We've seen this before in all these, again, house show matches, but Ria Sato and Sari have really great chemistry because it's basically like amateur wrestling versus submission catch style wrestling. So eventually, Ria Sato, after you just see individually Team Miko starting to get the advantage back, where they decide where, again, Darkness Revolution, their strategy is like, look, we need to divide and conquer. That's what they do. And then they single out Sarah's arm, especially Ria Sato, because she's the submission expert on that team. So I thoroughly like that. I thought that was great. Victoria Zuki, she comes in, she makes the save, and then Rhea goes back to the armbar and then transitions the armbar back into the cattle mutilation. Have not seen that in quite some time from the Japanese Dragon, one Rhea Sato. Eventually, we get the waterfall. We get the waterfalls coming in because then again, the strategy as you're building towards the finish is again divide and conquer for the third time in this match from your heels, Darkness Revolution. But Team Miko Ano, they come in and they thwart that 3-on-1 advantage, and they take out, by they I mean Yuzuki, Miko Ano, Mirai. They do a great job isolating and taking out Nagisa Nozaki, Misa, and Chiaki. And then we basically almost get a singles match between Sari and Rhea. Eventually, Sari does that great combination we see from time and time again, and it works. If it's not broke, don't fix it. The gut wrench suplex into the German suplex and into the Aoki clutch for the 3 count. I thought this was a great match. A lot of time to tell the story. 3 3/4 stars for me. Really, really great stuff.
What it did as well was remind everyone of the chemistry between Sarah Yamaoka and Ria Sato, which was obviously the match we were robbed of in the Dream Star Grand Prix because of Ria Sato getting COVID. So hopefully that is something that we will revisit, hopefully at Hurricane, because I do think obviously with Ria's turn, and the thoughts and motivations behind that turn being that she didn't want to be surpassed by Victoria Yuzuki and Sari Yamaoka. I think a singles match is inevitable between her and Sari Yamaoka. So fingers crossed that happens sooner rather than later. Finally, your main event, Utami Chikagoto Minami Yuki versus Mayu Sakurai and Chan Yota. Mayu Iwatani bringing out the Mai Sakurai pose. Matt, who did it better?
It's Mai Sakurai's pose. It's named after her, so it's got to be Mai Sakurai. Mayu already does everything better than everybody else, so let's give Mai Sakurai the pose. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
You can't have everything. If you ever listen to Kevin Smith's podcast, he's like, I hate that guy because he's handsome, he's talented, he's really nice, he's a great actor and a great singer. It's no fair. You can't have everything. You just can't have everything.
So annoying.
Yeah, really. This is a lot of star power. You have your red belt champion, Utami, your white belt champion, Mai Sakurai, Mayu Iwatani, probably the biggest star in this company. And again, we made mention at the beginning of the show, probably the greatest women's wrestler of all time, still in her prime. Chan Yota, bomber jacket, hands in the pocket. I'm all about that. New gear.
Aura.
Looking like $1 million. And Chikagoto Minami Yuki, who might be default your next challengers for the Twin Star Championship, which again, they work really well together. We said it a couple months ago. with all that star power, I thought Manami Yuki was the standout in this match. I thought she was
Wow.
fantastic. I thought that, again, you have two big main eventers on the other side. And Chen Yoda's not too far away, don't get me wrong. But you have Mayu and Mei Sakurai. They made Manami Yuki look really, really good in this match. And again, that's how you're going to get better. You're going to, quote Arn Anderson, you only get better in professional wrestling by wrestling wrestlers better than you. Mei Sakurai may be the most improved wrestler in all of wrestling over the last year and change. Mayu, again, arguably the best wrestler in all of wrestling today. They do a great job making Manami Yuki look good, and she's only going to get better rubbing elbows with these great wrestlers. Rob, I know you're going to say it. Let's get into it. Hoss off. Utami, Chen Yoda. We've seen it before. The shoulder tackles, and it's not only the shoulder tackles and the clotheslines and the forearms, but the two of them staring at each other afterwards. You just hear that big thud, and they kind of look at each other, and just the ooh, and you're building anticipation up for the other one, and they look again, and then ooh, and then you go to the clotheslines and the forearms. It's one thing to do them; it's another thing to tell your story in between, where it's just like they boom, they do the tackle, and then Utami just like looks at her, and then just does this. And it kind of puts Chan Yoda over because it's like, ow, that hurts. I'm not selling it, but I'm really selling it. So I thought that was great. And again, Chika Goto was fantastic. Chika Goto is so over, between her entrance and her aura and the Go Chika chant. And now she's got Manami Yuki doing it. And the fact that you have Utami coming out in the entrance as well. So you have that whole aura package. I thought this was great. Obviously, Mai Sakurai, she was terrific here as always. We got a lot of Mai Sakurai versus Utami. Champion versus champion. So I was like, oh, again, they won their respective belts on the same show at the beginning of the year's first Dream. So great stuff there. We got little flashes of Mayu and Utami, which is always a home run. Really great show. Really great match. Great match to end this show with Chan Yoda picking up a win, which I thought that was really significant. It could have went to Utami, could have went to Chika Goto. Obviously, Sakurai and Mayu, no wrong answer there. I thought it was really significant. Chan Yoda getting a big win here, as we're obviously seeing more Chan Yoda in Marigold. Again, great showing at the Dream Star this year. I love the fact that she fits in so perfect with this roster. You throw in the bomber jacket, Rob. It's basically something that's always going to win. 4 stars for me. A great match to end what ultimately was a really, really great show.
Look, obviously, Kouki Amarei's injury is devastating. We've talked about that, and it does make you wonder how much of a spanner it throws into the booking of the Twin Star division and who dethrones Magenta. We've both said that Minami Yuki will probably team with Chika Goto against the champions. We've both said that probably won't result in a title change. However, it is an opportunity for Minami Yuki on a big stage to basically sink or swim. Okay, so this is a big opportunity for you in front of what will probably be the biggest crowd that Marigold have ever performed in front of. Let's see how you do. Let's see how you do on this stage under this pressure. Let's see basically if the pressure is going to create a diamond or not. And that's something that's very exciting. So there aren't any silver linings to take from Koki's injury, obviously. However, it will be interesting to see how Minami Yuki, and again, we are assuming it might not even happen at Grand Destiny. It might be somewhere else. However, in a title match, it'll be interesting to see how Minami Yuki does, because again, she's someone who has been entrusted in a lot of main events on Marigold house shows, and someone who has really, really, really improved. And I think a lot of that is to do with her partnership with Chika Goto. So I'm really intrigued to see how that goes. That being said, we move on to the 23rd of September for the third night of the Battle Heart Tour in what feels like Marigold's spiritual home at the moment, the 176 box in Osaka. The attendance, 450 people. Now, though this is a 14.44% decrease on the company's previous show at the venue, which was 515 people on the 20th of July, it's worth noting that this is the 12th time the company have run the venue, and this is only the 4th time they've surpassed 400 people, with this being the 4th highest attendance for the company at the 176 box. So yes, a slight decrease from their previous show. However, it is still in that upper percentile for shows Marigold have run in the 176 box. So still a good number nevertheless. So in terms of our results, and again, Matt Turner, there is a particular result that we are going to get into that made me the happiest you will ever see Singles match, Kazuna Tanaka defeated Hummingbird. Back-to-back victories for Kazuna Tanaka, pinning the Bird with the Redream in 5 minutes and 39 seconds. Tag team match, the Dance Revolution team of Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki defeated Minami Yuki and Nao Ishikawa. Nagisa Nozaki wiping Nao Ishikawa out with an Noir Lancer in 9 minutes and 2 seconds. Tag team match, Mirai and Arina Yamanaka defeated Megaton and Chika Goto. Mirai pinning Megaton as opposing to submitting her, hitting her with the Mirror Mesh Shock in 10 minutes and 48 seconds. Matt Turner, it finally happened. It feels like so long since it's happened, and I get to say it out loud. My Sakurai and Kouki Amarei defeated the Darkness Revolution team of Misa Matsui and Rhea Sato. My Sakurai pinning Rhea Sato with Matt Turner. The good win. Elbow drop in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. Singles match, Mayu Iwatani defeated Flying Penguin with a moonsault in 10 minutes and 31 seconds, which was a really good match. And then finally, in your main event, 6-woman tag team action, Miku Ano, Seri Yamaoka, and Shino defeated Utami Hayashishita, Victoria Yuzuki, and Yuki Yamazaki. Miku Ano breaking out the Tiger Driver to pin Yamazaki in 17 minutes and 7 seconds. We go straight to the singles match, Matt. We talked about momentum for Kazuna Tanaka, obviously submitting Megaton, but with all the respect in the world, who hasn't submitted Megaton on this roster by this point? Kazuna Tanaka getting a roll-up victory over Hummingbird with that Redream. A good match.
Great match. I thought these two clicked really well. My only complaint was 5.5 minutes. I wish it would have went a little bit longer.
Longer. Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I wish it went a little bit. We've been saying that a lot. And a lot of these, again, quote unquote, Wrestle Universe shows, house shows, they're under 2 hours. So, like, I don't know if it would hurt.
Fly by.
They fly by, but like maybe some of these matches, you should give them another minute, 90 seconds. You're really not. It's not like it's a 4-hour show and it's going to extend it that long. Like, I would love to see these two go 7-8 minutes. There's so many great matches on these shows. And like, man, I think it'd be so much better if they just got another minute and a half. But regardless, this was great. You had the again, the flying style of Hummingbird versus the grounded submission and striking style of Kazuna Tanaka. And these two made it work. Again, I would love to see them in an 8, 9, 10-minute match. This was really great stuff. It was nonstop action. It was great back and forth, almost like a 50-50 style match, with eventually Kazuna Tanaka just using those strikes, opening up the door to basically burn down the bird's nest with the Redream for the 3 count, breaking all the eggs in the nest, buddy. 3.5 stars. Really, really great opener. Yes.
We move on to the tag team match that saw Nagisa Nozaki and Chiaki defeat Minami Yuki and Nao Ishikawa and Matt Turner. This is worth watching just to watch Nagisa Nozaki absolutely thunder into Nao Ishikawa with one of those Noir Lancers.
Yeah, this was it was you know what you were gonna get. You have your 2 underdog baby faces, and now Ishikawa and Namayuki. For lack of a better term, they look at the lights a lot more than that they don't. And obviously, you have your former tag team champions and Chiaki and Nagisa Nozaki. So it's an old school style match that makes sense. Again, you have the underdogs fighting from underneath. You have the heat. Every time it looks like there's going to be a hot tag, something happens, and you finally get that hot tag to Nao Ishikawa. You get that proper pop. And I thought it made sense. Minami Yuki, give her the opportunity to sell now as your more fire wrestler. So I thought there was really great stuff there. You got the bending and the breaking of the rules. You know who the heels were. You know the baby faces were. Easy story to tell, and they made it work. Eventually, you get some really great false finishes with Namayuki looking like she's going to pull off the upset on Nagisa Nozaki. Then Nagisa was like, yeah, playtime's over. And she hits that Noir Lancer. You're like, wowzers. If that's not a 3 count, that might be a 10 count. They might want to call it a KO on that one. Wow. Just really, really great stuff with all 4 of these great wrestlers. I had this one at 3.5 stars.
Count to 5, in the words of King Kong Bundy.
Yes.
Mirai and the return of Arina Yamanaka against Megaton and Chika Goto. Obviously, we knew Megaton was there to take the pin. But Matt, obviously, the return of Arina Yamanaka, who is not on every single show. What do you think of her performance in this match?
I thought she was great. Obviously, Megaton is here for the comedic relief. Chika Goto does all the heavy lifting on said team. So you basically almost had like 2 singles matches with Chika Goto and Arena, which was great. and a singles match with Mirai and Chikagoto, which I was like, ooh, that obviously, we've seen them in tag matches before, and they have really great chemistry. Again, this with Chikagoto, I thought looked fantastic here. Eventually, Arena's able to get rid of Chikagoto. Again, I want to see Arena versus Chikagoto. Give me that for 10, 11 minutes because they worked really well. Arena's able to almost, again, take Chikagoto out for enough time for Mirai to be left in the ring with one Megaton. And I was like, oh boy, she's definitely tapping out to that double wrist lock. Mirai's like, no, do something different. Let me hit her with the Mirror Mirai shot for the 3 count. Simple story to tell. Again, Megaton, the comedic stuff was great. Arena was terrific. Chikagoto was fantastic as always. Nice seeing Mirai pick up a win just a few weeks before her Marigold exit. 3.25 stars for me.
And it was after this match that Mirai announced that upon Marigold's return to this venue, which we now know is the 11th of October, so 2 weeks' time, she will be taking on the entire roster in a farewell gauntlet. So that, again, as we went through in the news, is on the 11th of October. Matt Turner, how much do you think we would have to slip to Sonny and Stu for them to actually call this the Goodwin elbow drop live on air?
You know what, buddy? You just gave me a challenge. Challenge accepted for Japan because this is something that I'm gonna. I will be. You know what? I'm gonna wonder. Am I gonna be more annoying that in Japan for that? Am I gonna be more annoying when I go to New York for Comic-Con in 2 weeks because the Bushi Road booth is back, and I'm because last year I was really last year. I got a whole host of people coming up to Bushi Road because it was just for the card. Obviously, Bushi Road we know them for the owners of New Japan and Stardom, but they mostly it's because of the card games that they have. So I literally went up to them every single day asking if they had any Stardom merch, and then everybody that I know would go up and like, you have any Stardom stuff? And majority of those people can't name one Stardom wrestler, but because I sent them that way. So anywho, man, I don't know. We're gonna find out, buddy. I'm gonna be aggressive, like that Faith No More song. Be aggressive. So
be aggressive, yes.
Be aggressive. This match was great. Again, we don't see Misa and Rhea team up that much, and obviously Kouki Amarei and Mai Sakurai, they don't team up that much at all. This worked in spades. I thought this was a fantastic match. You had the high-speed style of Misa. You had the ground and submission style of one Rhea Sato. You Mai Sakurai that is really good at doing pretty much just about everything. And then Kouki Amarei, who just is like the hammer in this match. I thought this was really, really great stuff. Especially Mai Sakurai and Misa Matsui. They have really great chemistry with Misa Matsui doing a great job using the double stomps, using her high-speed style to almost really throw our United National Champion off kilter. Eventually, those Mai Sakurai and Kouki Amarei with some double team work to kind of slow down one Misa Matsui, which I thought was great. And then we get Misa and Rhea. They do a great job kind of bending and breaking the rules and then doing some double team work to work over Mai Sakurai's leg. Eventually, Mai Sakurai is able to fight through the pain. I love that. I love the fighting spirit from one Mai Sakurai. Hits the jumping Insuguri to Rhea Sato. That scores her a 2 count. We get some near falls back and forth with Rhea and Mai Sakurai, and Rhea almost steals one with that double underhook chicken wing slide, getting a 2.9 count that a lot of people here in the 176 box bit for the finish. Eventually, though, we get some teamwork from Kouki and Sakurai that puts Rhea Sato down for enough time for Mai Sakurai to climb up that top rope, hit the Goodwin elbow drop. We get the 1, the 2, and the 3. Great finish. Great match. Again, considering the fact that we don't see they really team up that much, this worked in spades. Almost 10 minutes. I would have loved it if it went 12 or 13, but I thought this was fantastic. 4 stars for me. My second favorite match from this show.
And we move on to a singles match I never thought that I would actually see. It is, of course, our Lord and Saviour Flying Penguin taking on Mayu Iwatani. And their styles meshed really, really well. We thought they would do because we've seen quite a lot of Flying Penguin when Marigold do come to Osaka. And the way that she wrestles is sort of quite reminiscent of Mayu's style. Obviously, Mayu's style is very unique, but there is elements that Flying Penguin certainly has adapted. Obviously, we knew Mayu was going to win, and she wins handily in 10 minutes with the moonsault, but I thought this was a really, really good match.
This was fantastic. You're right. You did get the Mayu style match, but she basically took everything that Flying Penguin does good and made it look even better because it's like, okay, what are your, sometimes when you're in your locker room with a veteran or like a really next level worker, they're like, okay, what do you do that's really good? Okay, I'm going to put it in certain places in the match that's going to make it look better. And I'm going to sell it to make it look like it's next level stuff. That's what Mayu did here. And that's pretty much the staple of Mayu's career, that she just makes everybody look great. Ultimately, then when she gets the win, what does that do for Mayu? It makes Mayu look better. But this was great. You kind of get, again, the high speed, the junior style start, the Superfly championship style start, the fast pace back and forth, great arm drag trade-offs. And then eventually Mayu's like, Flying Pound might be a little bit faster than me. So she starts grounding her down with the kicks. And there's some buzzsaw kicks that she hits in this match that echoes off this building. I don't know if this building has like the cork and hall, like acoustics, but like there's some of those kicks that Mayu's just waylaying into. You almost feel bad for Flying Penguin. Like, all right, Mayu, relax. Like, quit it. Stop. Let her build her comeback a little bit. Like, what's wrong with you?
She's a penguin. What are you doing?
Yeah, what are you doing? She's literally trying to knock her out ice cold.
There's no.
That was terrible. Anywho,
I love the fact that you know it's terrible, but you still giggle at yourself like a small child.
I like things that are really, really good or really, really bad. I like everything. Don't get me
Nothing in
wrong.
between.
Yeah, like again, like someone asked me what was my favorite match I've seen in September was. It was either Azumi versus Saya Kamatani, or it was the flag heavy metal, or the flag death match from Tokyo Joshi Pro. If you haven't seen it, there's glow sticks. The one weapon used is the promoter.
Amazing.
You gotta do this. Wild. Go listen to free plug for Talk Joshi. Me and Andy, we try to break that down. Like, anywho. So Flying Penguin's getting the advantage in this match. She goes to the top rope. Mayu slams her off the top rope. Mayu starts building again, just kicking away at poor Flying Penguin. Mayu goes to the top rope. Flying Penguin cuts her off. She does the superplex, but then hangs on for two more suplexes, which I thought that was great. Flying Penguin's really starting to put together her moveset on Mayu. Mayu selling it like Mayu, like next level. Flying Penguin hits the tornado DDT, which Mayu just sells like Rob Van Dam in the 90s. Love that. And Flying Penguin gets a little bit ahead of herself, goes to the top rope with a big splash. No water in the pool, as Joey Styles would say. And then Mayu comes back with the super kick, Dodon Pie combination. Excellent stuff there. Then Mayu hits the slingshot German suplex. Love that. We don't get to see it that much, but I love it how it's like the Bipasso and the wrestler comes back and then right into that snap German. Excellent stuff there. Mayu then hits a stiff buzzsaw kick and then the top rope moonsault. Again, I thought this was great. Mayu really had to hit bomb after bomb after bomb at the end to put away Flying Penguin. Flying Penguin, up until that point, was really going strike for strike with Mayu and was really hitting a lot of her big moves on Mayu. And Mayu was doing a great job selling them, putting them over, selling the danger. And again, I like it how Mayu was like, damn, I really had to open up pretty much almost all of my arsenal to put away Flying Penguin, which ultimately, even though Flying Penguin looking at the lights, she gets over great in this match. And now to me, Flying Penguin's in a different light, a better light. She comes out of this match a lot better than she does going in, which is a credit to one, really how great Flying Penguin is, and two, Mayu knowing what to do, when to do it, how to make her opponents look really, really good. It's a special talent from one of the greatest, if not the greatest, of all time to do it. And one, Mayu. 4 stars for me. I thought this was really, really fantastic.
Your main event of the evening then was a 6-woman tag team match. Utami, Victoria Yuzuki, and Yuki Yamazaki taking on Mika Wano, Seri Yamaoka, and of course the returning Shino as well. Matt, opinions on this main event?
You knew this was going to be about. Again, you got your big driver with Utami and Mika Wano, so you know you're going to get there. So the match goes to start, and Utami puts up her hand, and Mika Wano puts up her hand. And you're like, all right. And then Yuka Yamazaki's like, no, I'm going to start. And then Shino's like, no, I'm going to start. And then Utami Hayashishita, being the sweetest person ever, was like, go ahead and have at it. And Victoria Yuzuki almost like laughing at her, like, all right, you want to start this matchup, not our world champion. No problem. Again, Rob, this very may well be the first iteration of King's Journey we might be looking at here. So we know like we're gonna get teased of it. And like, oh, we didn't get it just yet. And I think Shino and Yamazaki understood, like, okay, there's a lot of eyes on this match because of Ano and Utami. But let's go out and steal the show. And Yuka and Shino, for the little bit they were in the match, I thought they were terrific. Really, really great stuff. Great way to start off this match. Really, like, again, the fact that Shino and Yuka, they have like maybe 25, 30 matches combined total underneath their belt. They did a great job setting the table for this match. We obviously get the Miko Ando and Utami stuff, and again, they're hitting each other with the clotheslines, the forearms, really great stuff. And then they pair off, and then we get the tag outs to Sari and Yuzuki. And as soon as they come in the ring, we're like, oh yeah, these two are really, really great chemistry as opponents. So you almost have like 3 singles matches, which I really enjoyed. That excellent stuff there. And then you build towards a few tag team moves. Again, Utami and Victoria Yuzuki. Remember last year they were teaming up quite a bit in matches, and they had really great chemistry. Literally to the point where people were trying to troll me online saying, I think Victoria Yuzuki's a better tag partner for Utami, better than even Saya Kamatani. And I was like, let's calm down, folks. Let's
pump those brakes.
relax. That's Saya Kamatani. She's doing okay for herself. But again, you get flashed of that, and you're like, oh, I forgot how great Utami and Yuzuki are as a team, which again is another great credit for Victoria Yuzuki because she's great with so many different wrestlers. So really great stuff there. Eventually, we go back to Utami and Miko having a lariat exchange, which is all sorts of violent. Again, if you're not excited for this match coming up on the 26th of October, better check your pulse. Really great stuff there. Eventually, though, Yamazaki, she comes in with the, Yuka comes in with a big dropkick onto Miko Ano. And then we get a Miko Ano and Yuka form exchange, which does not end well for the rookie at all, because the K1 kickboxer, our trainee, just beats up on that poor rookie, which you knew was going to have. But then Yuka comes back with a big twist of fate onto Miko Ano for a 2 count. We get the waterfalls between Victoria with Yuzuki, with Utami, with Sari, with Shino. Again, Shino was really good in this match for the little bit that she had, but the match wasn't about her, but she shined really well in her spots. Eventually, we get towards the end of this match with Miko Ano picking up the win with the Tiger Driver. Don't get to see that much with Miko Ano. Usually it's the buzzsaw kick, the 1 second EX, or the Styles Clash, but hitting the Tiger Driver, putting away a Yuka Yamazaki. I had this at 3 3/4 stars, 17 minutes, plenty of time to tell their story, which again, a lot of stories are sprinkled around. The main story again, Rob, Utami, Miko Ano, coming up here in just about 1 month's time.
Absolutely. It's going to be very, very exciting. And again, we've got that preliminary match at Corrigan Hall on the 13th as well. Marigold only running 1 show next week, and that is on the 4th of October. The full card has been announced. I'll just go through that with you now. So we open with a singles match, which sees now Ishikawa against Hummingbird. We've then got Megaton versus Rhea Sato. We have got a 6-woman tag, Kazuna Tanaka, Minami Yuki, Nagisa Takibana versus Nagisa Nozaki, Misa Matsui, and it says on the graphic, Rhea Sato again. So Rhea Sato potentially pulling double duty during this show. Who knows? We have then got, I am assuming that's Chiaki, by the way, that's supposed to be on that graphic, not Rhea Sato, but there we are. We then have a tag team match. Mirai and Yuki Yamazaki will be teaming up for what might well be the final time against Sari Yamoka and the returning Komomo Minami, who, of course, missed those last 2 shows with an eye injury. And then in your main event, Utami Hayashishita, Mai Sakurai, and Chika Goto versus Mayu Iwatani, Miko Ano, and Victoria Yuzuki. That coming to you on the 4th of October. Matt, that leaves us just one thing to talk about, of course, and with everything that is happening with Io, with Kairi, with Asuka on Raw, surely there is going to be a massive gaze at Julia.
Not massive, but more than we've been getting as of late.
Really?
More than we've been getting as of late. Rob, good. We have a match. We gaze at Julia. Yes. Last week, Rob, I did make mention if you wanted to gaze at Julia, there's a website called stardomworld.com that you can watch off of Julia. And again, Julia is great. I mean, I just don't know why we're not doing more with her, because her segments when she's in the ring, she's having some of the best matches. She's having some of the highest rated segments. Again, I don't. If I knew better, I wouldn't be sitting here with Rob. I'd be booking SmackDown. But anywho, I'd rather be here with you, buddy, making bird puns. I mean, how much better does it get? Anywho, back to the task at hand. Gaze at Julia, the tag match that we've been setting up for some time. Michin and B-Fab taking on Julia and Kiana James. I believe this was Kiana James' in-ring debut for SmackDown, from what I heard. I don't think she's had a match on camera. So match starts off with a B-Fab big drop onto Kiana James. We get some really great teamwork with Michin and B-Fab, really working down Kiana James. Eventually, though, Julia, she comes in, ruins the party for the babyfaces, just beating them up as typical Julia does. Eventually, the match spills out to the floor. We get some really cool stuff coming off the apron. Julia gets a little ahead of herself because it looks like she has beaten up both Michin and B-Fab. And as she does this, and Rob, you have to at least see this spot. The match isn't that long. It's a solid match. You got to see this spot. So Julia, as you can see, is kind of the pose that you can see on YouTube that she's doing right here. She's kind of doing that to the camera. And all of a sudden, you see in the corner, you see I'm going to call her Mia Yim. Mia Yim get on the announcer's table and then does a running Josie dropkick off the announcer's table and flattens Julia. Think of Manami Toyota when she would do them from the top rope back in the 90s. Yeah, I mean, I was like, wowzers, Michin. Like, I would way rather be Julia. I'm like, I'd rather just take the feet in the head. Like, what a bump from Michin. Again, the Joshi style dropkick running about 100 miles an hour coming off the table. That was something. Eventually, though, we get back into the ring. We get some heat onto B-Fab. Julia, she does a Joshi dropkick off the top rope because you can't have enough flatback dropkick in a flatback dropkick, in a match. Eventually, the hot tag to Michin. Michin comes in all sorts of fire, and I love this ending spot. Michin, Mia Yim, she hits the eat the feet 2-1 B-Fab, but when B-Fab takes the bump, she takes the bump back into the corner where Julia is. Julia blind tags herself in, and when Michin gets up, she never doesn't see the tag because she's taking the eat the feet, which is the bump on her own. So by the time she turns around, it's too late. Julia comes in with a Rivederci knee, and then the Northern Lights bomb, putting away Mia Yim. Again, I love that finish. Very Midnight Express, very Anderson style, very Tully and Arn, where it's just like you just don't see it. Just the bump just happens to put where Julia needs Kiana James to be, and Julia being the smartest person in the ring. Blind tag, and again, by the time Mia Yim finds out what happened, it's already 2 over. Again, a solid match. You got to see that insane bump that Mia Yim takes. And again, I really like the finish. When you're calling back to stuff that, Midnight Express stuff, Anderson stuff, Rock and Roll Express stuff Tracy Smothers used to do, I'm all for it. Really solid stuff. And Julia, not only wrestling, Rob, but picking up a win as well.
Honestly, it's like she holds a championship or something, I swear. Well, I mean, it's a Marigold standard where we've mentioned Tracy Smothers, so I feel like this is already one of our best podcasts. Rest in peace, Tracy Smothers. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us on the Marigold standard this week. I am going to forewarn you, it will be a shorter one next week, unless, of course, they announce, I don't know, Kyrie versus...
Megaton.
Oh, my God. Oh, imagine. Versus Hummingbird, and it's just bird things.
Yeah, because Kyrie's the sailor, right? And you're sailing, and you always see the birds going around the boat.
Absolutely.
I almost knocked over my Sherry photo.
Absolutely. And she gets the telescope out, and Hummingbird uses it, and it's called the bird's eye. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, with that level of humor, we are off. Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We are literally everywhere. Leave us a 5-star review and a comment. I can't stress to you how much that helps us out. Also, patreon.com/the StardomCast for all of your news, your reviews, and of course, all of the archived episodes for both the Marigold Standard and the StardomCast and Talk Joshi as well. All available, patreon.com/StardomCast for as little as $1 solitary a month. You can find us on social media at Marigold Podcast, unless you are talking about Instagram, Blue Sky, or Threads, in which case we are at Talk Joshi. You can talk to me on Twitter at Real Rob Goodwin. Mr. Matt Turner, sign us off, good sir.
Folks, questions, comments, suggestions, anything that you need from me, Matt Turner OF on the Instagram and the Twitter is the easiest, fastest, and best way to get a hold of me. Folks, if you are on the Twitter, head on over to Talk Joshi 2025. Give us a follow over there as well. If you want to shoot me an email, I have an email address, exactly how to get a hold of me, and Rob's going to help me give you said email address. The email address simply is thestardomcast22@gmail.com. Folks, that's going to wrap it up for another fantastic edition of the Marigold Standard. We greatly appreciate your support. Can't do without you. It's like I always say, just not my podcast. It's our podcast. Because we're all together. Everybody's different. Everybody's special.